Hi everybody, welcome back to Sean's World. Now in this video I'm going to be starting the landing stroke office area project. I'm just going to finish my tea and I'll tell you all about it. So the landing area that I'm currently in at the moment that I plan to renovate is directly above the boot room. That was a previous video, go and check that out if you haven't already. So you come up the stairs into the landing area. Behind me is our dressing room and ensuite, and then we've got the bedroom behind that as well. So I've got everything up here so I don't have to keep going in and out through the boot room because I don't want to mess that up. So I've got all my tools up here. I'm going to have a little tidy up and then I'll give you a general overall picture of what I plan to do up here. Now after living in the house for a few years, we felt that the living room was really bigger than what we needed. A lot of the heat from the living room was coming through into which is now the boot room, up the stairs and then right up into the attic space, which is not a problem, but we felt we didn't really need to heat all the attic. So what I've done, I created another level, A for storage and B to keep, retain the heat and it give me a chance to put some more insulation in. So in a previous video I set about putting an extra ceiling in here, which is a insulated floor space, and I'm going to create some extra storage because I've got one or two copper pieces scattered about. So that's fully insulated at the moment. I'm going to board it out, and what I plan to do is make a start and shutting this area across here off, and maybe a hatch through here for access. There's going to be another hatch through here. This is all going to be filled in and insulated just to retain the heat a little bit more. Now the insulation that I've used in the roof space, if you overlap it right, you get any moisture in above your roof, it will drain out to the outside. So these roofs do leak. I had a downpour the other day and there was some water coming out of this light, so that reminds me I must get up on the roof and replace a few slip tiles. So yeah, it should be much more cosier this year. And the challenge is closing off all the drafts and all the holes in the insulation. So the two rooms behind me here, above is a loft space which is all been insulated, boarded out. It's got lights up there, so I may continue the lighting from that area into this newly made loft area here, so I can see what I'm doing up there. And I'll switch the lights on and show you what it's full of. And if you don't know me already, I collect copper and sell it in my Etsy shop, and as you've probably guessed, the loft area is full of copper. So storage really is an issue at the moment. We're bursting at the seams, but not for long. Once I create this extra storage area, I'll soon have that full up. Make sure it's reinforced to take plenty of weight. But yeah, you can see the need for extra space. We're going to close this area off here. Like I say, we're going to put a hatch in. There's the hatch. And then I'm going to have a scout about for some materials to see what I can do it in. There's no real budget for this project, so I've really got to just sort of see what I've already bought, what's lying about, some upcycling, some repurposing of materials. So I've got an overall picture in my mind how it's going to be, but you never quite know. So yeah, that's part of the fun of it really, is just using what you've got. The budget's tight, that's where you have to use your imagination, and 9 times out of 10 you get a better outcome when you engage that a little bit. So yeah, looking forward to this. There's a few challenges. What I plan to incorporate in the whole scheme is underneath this, well, we'll talk about it a bit later, but underneath this new ceiling is going to be the office area. Down this level below me is going to be more storage, but Sam's also informed me she'd like some hanging area for her clothes. So we'll see who wins on that one, copper or clothes. I've got a rough idea. But anyway, I've got enough storage up here for me copper, a little bit of organising, and it'll be a great space. Get another light in here as well. So yeah, you have to make the most of the area you've got. Kind of solves several problems. It insulates the area up here, so you're not heating a vast area for nothing. Once it's insulated, the heat will be held underneath. I had the insulation already from previous work, so I didn't have to buy that. Right, so what I will need to decide fairly shortly is which side I'm going to have the office. Now, underneath the window will probably be better for an office, natural daylight. Behind me maybe the hanging space for the clothes and things. So the only benefit I'd have of putting the office area this side is once those doors are gone, there's quite a big area to put a desk. Now these, before I forget, these are armoire doors once again, same as what I've done downstairs in the boot room. So yeah, they'll look lovely once they're waxed up. So now at the moment it's a bit of a storage area once again. I think I'm going to have, yeah, maybe the hanging rail through here. I've got some power in here so I can put a light up. I can still probably get away with keeping my copper on the back shelf. So I think I'll actually keep the design as is. What I plan to do is have my chair here in this sort of area. Desk right the way across the top. Got my natural daylight from the window. Rearrange the bookcase a little bit better. So yeah, it will look nice once it's all kitted out. I've got some lights there. I'll maybe put another one over to this side. So I've already fitted one of these bulkhead bronze lights. They're lovely. They would have come off of a ship originally. They're very high quality. And I'll maybe put that up on that side there. Give a bit of symmetry. But before I actually start on the office area, I've got to close this area off here, incorporate the hatch and get the rest of the boarding down. So I'm just going to have a look, see what I've got in my barns, what I can reuse. If not, I'll have to make a list and head off down to the Brico, which is the DIY store. So the boot room was completed over a week ago. Still looking lovely, and it's been a real transformation to this area. Sam's been sitting there with cups of coffee, having a read, a little micro library area, and as you'd expect, plenty of boots in the boot room. So yeah, it's been a real transformation, this area. It's helped things flow really nice. It's kept the area nice and clean, a little sense of order in sometimes what's a little bit of chaos when you're doing building work. So yeah, the coat's up there, yeah, it really flows nice. Now what I must remember is to take these sconces off while I'm carrying stuff through. But I think what we've decided, along this area just underneath here, we're going to have an array of all different beautiful green house plants. A, to bring the outdoors in, and B, it's been proven to help purify the air quality, hence making it a better environment for us to live in. So yeah, right, must remember to take those off. I would not be in the good books if I broke those. So let's just head off over to the barn. The weather's really mild at the moment. Shouldn't really be like this, but there you go. Right. Oh, talking of renovation projects, I mean obviously once I've got a few rooms left to do in the house, once they're done, then my main focus will be turned to these, which are major renovation projects. Let me just give you an oversight of what I'm talking about. So this was once two separate cottages, which is being knocked down through the middle, and this is now our main dwelling. Next to it is quite a large barn. The one next to that is a separate house, or will be, and you've got another barn at the end of it. So some real major roofing work, woodwork, all sorts going on there, but I shall cover that in a future video. So into Aladdin's cave, there's always stuff in here I find. Ooh, a bit dark. So yeah, length of timber there, that'll come in handy. Got some cladding there. All sorts in here. Ooh. Right, let's grab that, head off indoors. So I've had a good rummage about, and I've managed to find some insulation for the stud wall above the loft area where I'm working. We've got a bit of tracking, enough to be getting started. Now these are just battens. Every time I go to the wood yard I collect these little battens that they throw away, so good bit of upcycling there. And what I use those for is, once this is installed up on the roof underside, I'll just counter batten it out with these, so I should put those to good use as well. So not a bad little haul. So I'm just in my little wood store, and there's a few more pieces of timber that I can utilise, which is great. Like I say, I'm a bit of a magpie, but it comes in handy when you've got a vast project like I've got. So that's coming with me. I might also get time to tackle the garden. Well, since it started raining, it's gone ballistic. At least we had some rain, so it mustn't grow. And every time I walk around looking for things, I rediscover stuff that I forgot about and not got round to. Beautiful old barley twist, solid iron bars. They're going to be incorporated into something. Put them inside, get them out of the rain. So yeah, sometimes it's like Christmas every day when I go hunting. Forget what I've got. So just some fixings, screws. Oh, and also, very important consideration before you start any work, charge those batteries up for your cordless. So I'll get those on charge, give me an excuse to have another cup of tea, and then after lunch we'll get cracking. So the system I'm going to use to track the wall out is a base rail that goes around the perimeter. And these are your upright metal studs. They simply slot in, you move them along to the position you want, and then you can crimp or screw them in place. So once we've got our measurements, we don't use a hacksaw or a chop saw on this. We use a set of tin snips. We just simply cut, wobble it side to side several times. Make sure you don't cut yourself because they're very, very sharp. Maybe use gloves, and then it will just snap off. So the plan is to fit this in situ, build a framework around it, and that's a hatch that can pop up, so I can get the ladder underneath, lift it up, and gain access to this area. And if you look under here, you can see the ancient construction of the old wall. It's what they call torchie, which is a mixture of clay, straw. Don't know whether it's got cow manure in it. But yeah, needs some repair work, but I'm going to box that in before, well, after I've repaired it, before I do this side of the renovation. So there would have been a row originally of 5 separate self-contained buildings. Now I've got 4 because the first 2 has been knocked through into one, which is our house at the moment. So yeah, they evolve over the years. They're really hard to sort of trace their uses before, because they recycle A-frames and timbers from previous properties and then make them fit into their new dwelling. So it's really hard to sort of get an idea of what's happened, but over the last sort of 10 years I've worked out what's happened in this particular house that we're living in at the moment. So yeah, interesting history. Some of the repairs are not always what they should be. Let me just show you one. Now this particular timber is supported in other areas, so you know the house is not going to fall down, but what they've done, they've just cobbled this on. A few nails that they couldn't get into the oak, and this gap here is where it's come out of the mortise, the tenon, it's come out. So yeah, I will rectify that issue once I clad all the bottom in. I'm going to clad it in the same as I've done that side. So just run along there, but yeah, you get a few surprises. But these places were really made to last. They're not going anywhere. Now I can remember when I purchased the property, first come in here, come upstairs. Now the upstairs had never been lived in, it was just used for storage for, you know, cattle feed I suppose, or grain. And I come upstairs and I remember pushing the wall, and the centre infills were all clay. And there was probably about a ton of clay, and it was just wobbling there. So first thing I'd done was push that over. That caused some mess. Thought the floor was going to go through, but it didn't. So anyway, the idea was to get rid of the defective clay and then infill it, insulate it with something much lighter, which is what I've actually done here. So, you know, that was a good job, well done. But a lot of weight up there. You know, sometimes you see wooden floor areas and they've got nearly a foot of clay put on them, mainly for insulation, but yeah, a hell of a lot of weight, and it slowly over the years bows the timbers. So there's something to look out for when you buy a French property. So that is it for the first video in this project. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that reminder bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos.